Hi, my name is Gavin Andrews. I'm the Managing Director for HeartMath in the UK and Ireland. Coronavirus means that we're living through some particularly challenging and stressful times, and it's entirely normal and appropriate that we should be feeling anxious, worried, or fearful. However, feeling those feelings and experiencing that over long periods of time is not good for us. And so what I wanted to do was to share some very simple but very effective HeartMath techniques with you, which would enable you to manage your state over the coming weeks and months and to reduce unnecessary feelings of overwhelm and wear and tear. Before I do that, I just wanted to share some information about what's happening to us when we experience stress. So generally, when we experience stress, what happens is the part of our autonomic nervous system, so our autonomic nervous system being the part of us that's doing everything that we don't need to think about, so things like metabolism and hormonal release and temperature regulation, heart rate, breathing, etc., that part of us tends to speed up. The very next thing that happens is that we release a hormone into our system called cortisol. Cortisol's a helpful hormone to have in our system if we need to fight or run away or play dead. But when we're experiencing long-term sustained stress, like many of us are right now, it's not healthy to have it in our system. It actually is what's known as a catabolic steroid. So it breaks us down, it compromises our health and our immunity. So we really want to try and limit the amount of time that we're spending in stressed state over the coming weeks and months. One of the things that happens when we experience stress as well is that our heart rhythms tend to change. So what happens when we become stressed is the heart rhythms become more chaotic. And what you're seeing here in this diagram is basically the heart rhythms as an indication of what's going on in the autonomic nervous system. So you can see they're very jagged and chaotic, and what they're showing basically is that the autonomic nervous system is working against itself. There's wear and tear going on. Now, what's really interesting is that when we naturally experience pleasant or positive emotions, so feelings like care or appreciation or gratitude, love, our heart rhythms tend to go into this lovely, smooth, ordered pattern where they're speeding up and slowing down in these repeating cycles. Now, that's called coherence, and it's actually a state that we can intentionally self-generate even when we're feeling stressed. So it's important that we notice we're stressed, but then when we do, we can shift into this different state, which is really beneficial for our bodies, and it's really beneficial for the way that we think. So what's happening then when we experience stress? We have the adrenaline, we have the cortisol, and then the body begins to go into chaos, the autonomic nervous system goes out of balance, and that's reflected in the heart rhythms. That then has an impact on the brain. So these chaotic signals go up from the body and the heart to the brain, and what they'll do then is basically increase or at least sustain the activity within the stress centers. So the part of your brain that's responsible for fight, flight, freeze becomes more active, and unfortunately the part of your brain that enables you to self-regulate, so to manage your thoughts, your feelings and your behaviors, is going offline. So it's kind of like you're having a mini lobotomy. If we notice though that we're getting stressed, then we can do something about it. And the techniques that I'll teach you shortly are a very, very powerful way of getting what we call coherent. So, in effect, what happens is you hack into your autonomic nervous system, so you intentionally take control of something that's normally unconscious. You shift the heart rhythms into this lovely, ordered, speeding up, slowing down pattern that we call coherence, and that sends different information to the body and particularly to the brain. And so then what happens is the stress centers receive this information and in effect say, well, there can't be any stressors, there's this lovely order and rhythm coming back at me from the body, so stress centers can deactivate, we don't need to fight, run away or play dead, and then the prefrontal cortex, the bit of your brain that enables you to self-regulate, can come back online again. So it's like reversing the lobotomy. So what coherence is then, is it's a real scientific measurable state, and the easier way to think of it is that it's just an optimal state for your mind and your body. What's really happening though is that your heart and your brain are synchronizing in terms of their activity. And also your nervous system, your immune system, your hormonal system are functioning in a state of energetic coordination. Well, they're in balance. And what that means then is that you have an increased capacity to be in control of yourself and in control of your physiology, so what your body's doing, your thoughts, your feelings and your behaviors. So let's get on with the techniques. The first technique I want to share with you is really simple. It's called heart focused breathing technique. The idea of this technique is that you can do it eyes open in the moment when you're experiencing challenge and stress. You don't need to go and sit down somewhere to do this. You can do it real time, eyes open. And it's very, very simple. All you do is first of all shift your attention to the area of your heart. So you're literally taking your focus, your attention, and you're placing it in your heart. Sometimes it can be easy just to put your hand there to enable you to do that. So the attention's in the heart or the chest area, and then what you're doing is you're slowing down and you're deepening your breathing. And you're imagining actually that the breath is flowing in and out of the heart. Now I know it can't literally do that, we're just imagining that the breath's flowing in and out of the heart, but we're breathing a little slower and a little deeper than usual. Now in terms of some tips about how to do this, you want to be breathing through your nose. Nasal breathing kills more bugs, it increases the amount of oxygen that you're getting into your system, it's actually creating a bit of a workout for the heart and lungs, and it's synchronizing your brain activity. You also want to try and get the breathing to become nice and balanced. So try a rate of about 5 seconds in or 5 seconds out. That's optimal for most people, puts you in 6 breaths a minute. But if that feels uncomfortable, then speed it up or slow it down a little bit, but make sure still that it's balanced. The balance is very important. Also make sure that your belly's nice and relaxed, and with the breath try and make it as smooth and sustained as you can, so no holding at the top of the inhalation or at the end of the exhalation. So let's just give that a go. We're going to shift our attention to the heart or chest, and then we're going to breathe deeply but comfortably, imagining the breath flowing in and flowing out of the heart or the chest area. Okay, simple as that. You've just got to remember to do it. So what this is doing then is it's creating coherence within your body and your brain. So that's balancing your autonomic nervous system, and it's activating the prefrontal cortex. It's reducing the stress reaction. So it's basically dialing back the adrenaline and the cortisol. It's shifting you from unpleasant negative emotions into a more neutral emotional state. And the effect of that, if you practice it frequently, is it's reducing what's called allostasis or wear and tear, and it's promoting what's called homeostasis, which is your body's natural ability to regulate itself back to balance and repair itself. When to use this? Well, basically whenever you're stressed. So you've got to notice that you're stressed and then just practice the simple breathing technique. You can still do whatever you need to do. But actually this is just a great way to breathe most of the time. Most people breathe far too shallowly and far too quickly. So if you can just try and breathe like this more often than not, you're going to begin to build it as a behavior, as like a baseline way of breathing, and that can only do you good. Okay, so that's heart focused breathing technique. The next technique I want to share with you is about how you can shift your emotions. So most people think that emotions are just reactions. Something happens and you react. Well, that's true, that's normal and that's natural, but actually emotions are choices. So right now I could decide to look out of the window and look at the sunshine and feel gratitude for the beauty of seeing the sunshine on the trees and the blossoms. Or I could recall somebody that I care about and feel feelings for them. So emotions are also choices, and it's very healthy to exercise that choice, especially when the emotions are positive or pleasant. So the technique I'm going to share with you then is called quick coherence. Gets you more coherent quickly. And how do we do it? Well, we begin with the heart focused breathing technique. So we shift the attention or focus into the heart or chest area. And then what we're doing is we're making a sincere attempt to experience a regenerative feeling. So that's appreciation or gratitude or care for someone or something in your life. And then when you've got that, it really doesn't matter what it is, person, place, memory, sunshine, anything at all, just needs to be real. As soon as you've got that feeling, the idea is to then breathe the feelings in and out with the breath. Okay, so we'll give that a go. We're just going to shift the attention again to the heart or the chest area, start the breathing. And then recall that feeling, the care, the appreciation, the gratitude. And when you've got that, focus on breathing the feeling in and out with the breath. So we just take a few deep, slow, comfortable breaths doing that. Okay, so again, very, very simple. So what it's doing is doing everything that the heart focused breathing does, but what it's also doing is it's increasing even further the activity in the prefrontal cortex, the bit that enables you to self-regulate. It's also putting you in what you might have heard of being referred to as the flow state or the zone. Okay, so that's a state where you can perform to the best of your ability. It's like you're the best version of yourself. What's also happening is you're beginning to shift your hormonal balance. So you're moving away from cortisol and towards the production of a hormone called DHEA, which is important for vitality and for literally rebuilding you on a cellular level. But you'll also be producing other feel-good, do-good hormones, maybe even a hormone like oxytocin, which helps to buffer the stress response. In terms of when to do this, well, you can do this before you know you've got a challenging or stressful situation coming up. You can do it during a challenging, stressful situation with practice. It does take practice, but believe me, it can be done. And you should also do it after challenging or stressful situations as well. You could also just choose to do this throughout the day as a way of topping up your battery or boosting your resilience. Okay, the last technique that I'm going to share with you then is one that you would do during your downtime. So you go somewhere and sit quietly. The idea is that this is a 5-minute, my personal practice, 20 minutes a day, and for most people that's going to be really optimal. So the idea is you're sitting down quietly, comfortably, closing your eyes and going really, really deep. So again, you just begin with the heart focused breathing technique. So focus in the heart, start the breathing going nice and deeply and comfortably, around about 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. And then you're really trying to feel the connection with your heart. And on the out breath, you're radiating out feelings of care, appreciation, gratitude, love for other people. So you imagine you're radiating those feelings out to others. And then on your in-breath, you're breathing those feelings back into and for yourself. That's a really important part of this, that you're also feeling it for yourself. Okay? So we'll do that technique for just a few breaths, but the idea, like I said, is that you do it for 5 minutes or more. 20 minutes would be brilliant. Focus the attention. Eyes closed. And then on the out breath, breathing the feelings of care, appreciation, gratitude, love out to others, those people who are important to you in your life, maybe people that you work with, or just the people in general, just breathing those feelings out to others. And then on the in-breath, breathing the feelings back into and for yourself. So feeling the feelings for yourself. Okay, so what's that doing? Well, after a long, challenging, stressful day, that's releasing accumulated stress from your system. It's basically facilitating homeostasis, so your body regulating itself back to balance and repairing itself. It's going to help you to rest and to sleep and to recover, and it's going to benefit your immune system. So long-term sustained stress is not good for us. It certainly isn't good for our immune system, and right now we all need to be keeping ourselves as fit and healthy as possible. When to do this, like I said, during your downtime. A really good time to do this is first thing in the morning, but also before bedtime, maybe about half an hour or so before bed, and it's going to put your body in the perfect place to then drift off and give you a really good long night's sleep. So there we go, really simple techniques, anyone can do them. The main takeaway here is just to be a bit more conscious. Be conscious of when you're experiencing stress, be conscious of your breathing and of your emotions, and then when you're able to do that, breathe slowly, breathe deeply, breathe in a balanced way. Make sure that you breathe through your nose, unless you've got a cold, then of course you can breathe through your mouth, but generally try and breathe in and out through your nose. Choose to experience more frequently positive and pleasant emotions like care, appreciation, gratitude, joy, etc. Practice this when you're stressed, but also practice it when you're not. Okay, I hope that was useful. I hope it's interesting. Please feel free to share this with friends, family, and I'd really appreciate it if you could share this information with those people out there on the front line right now, so health workers and everyone else that's doing such a wonderful job protecting us and keeping everything going whilst we do our thing and self-isolate and look after ourselves. Thanks very much.